Hi family. I really want to continue speaking to you today about training up a child in the way that he should go so that when he is old he will not depart from it. And I want you to know that I do consider you my family. I love you very much. I love the Lord, and I want to impart to you all that he gives me that can help us with training of our children. And we are going to go into the scriptures a little bit deeper today. We're going to look at training our children about the faithfulness of God. So come in a little bit closer. Isaiah chapter 38 verse 19. And it reads this way. The living, they praise you, as I am doing today. Fathers, tell their children about your faithfulness. This particular passage is part of the story of Hezekiah. After Hezekiah's illness, you know that Hezekiah was a king of Judah, and that there came a point in Hezekiah's life where he had been stricken with illness. But as Hezekiah turned his face to the Lord and prayed to God, God extended his life by 15 years. And so Hezekiah, after his illness and in the state of his recovery, this particular verse is what he said. He said, "In the prime of my life, must I go through the gates of death and be robbed of the rest of my years? I said, I will not again see the Lord in the land of the living. No longer will I look on mankind or be with those who now dwell in this land." Well, there was a time when Hezekiah thought that it would be the end, but not so, because the Lord extended his life. And he said, the living, they praise you, God, as I am doing today. I am praising God because I'm so thankful that he extended my life. He says, as I am doing today, fathers tell their children about your faithfulness. So he's saying here that fathers really should be telling their children about God's faithfulness. Think about it. How many times do we actually sit down and talk to our children about the faithfulness of God? Are they only learning about God from their own personal experiences? What the word is saying here today is, as parents, it's part of our obligation as parents in training up our children to talk to them about the faithfulness of God. How many times do we keep our children from knowing certain things? We don't want them to know when we are down, but we give them the impression that life is always okay, but life is filled with its ups and its downs. And we need to share with them those down moments as well as the up moments and how we manage to get through them. If God helped you to get a job when you didn't have one and you wondered how you were going to fend for your family, you need to share that with your children, and especially your sons, so that when they grow up, they won't think that that never happened to their dad, that there is something wrong with them, that they are faltering in some kind of way. No, they're not. They just missed out on knowing the fact that we had moments when things did not look good, and that we used the Lord, that we reached out to him and said, Father, please help me. I need a job. Help me, dear Lord, with my health, because I need to be able to take care of my family. Help me, Lord. There's a whole lot of month at the end of the money, and I need help with my finances. Help me, Lord, in school, because there was a time when my grades were not so good, and I was really scared. But I cried out to the Lord, and he heard my prayer, and he helped me. And so I want to tell you that God is faithful, and that you can always count on God. You might not always even be able to count on me as your parent, but you can always count on God. He is faithful. He said, lo, I am with you always, even unto the end. So God will never leave you or forsake you. We need to share these kinds of moments with our children. Don't always hide everything. Give them truth. I had a parent say to me that I don't think it's a good idea to take children to a funeral. My own child at that time was about 5 years old, and someone that she had known very dearly passed away. And I went through that part too of determining whether or not I should take her to the funeral. So you know what I did? I prayed and said, Lord, what should I do? What should I do, Father? And the thought he gave me for mine was, you need to let her know truth. She needs to know that there is such a thing called death and that there is life. And let her know that that person is no longer going to be in the setting that she knew him to be in. So death is as true as life. We need to let them know that there is life, there is death. Now, the one thing about Christians, is that death is not the end for Christians. And so you can console them, comfort them by letting them know if that person had asked Jesus to come into their heart and save them, well, they just went to a better place. They're not dead as we think of dead. They're really just sleeping. The death is the way that they transition from this world to the next. And we can explain it to them just like we do a birth. A baby is in the womb for 9 months normally, but the baby has to transition from being in the womb to coming into the world, and we call that transition birth. Well, the transition from life as we know it on earth to life that we know it after here is called death. If